start. She's trying to get on. She's having trouble with it.
And I see her coming on, so.
Okay. Excuse me. So the reason why I brought up the homework thing is because I didn't run the PO suggestions until I don't know what time, but it was way after 5 Eastern time because the email actually didn't go out until after that. So I was having mental challenges yesterday, I guess. But so I will continue to run them at the regular time, 5 o'clock. And, you know, you guys can definitely run them on your own if you choose to do that. It won't bother me at all. But what I wanted to do today was just based on some feedback that I've received either during these calls or individually is kind of show you guys some different ways of looking up information on what you're working through or working on. I will tell you that we have a customization in place on the customer tracker for projects that I just found out is not working because when I went to look at projects, they were all from 2019. So that part of it is not going to be very helpful for you. But so I wanted to go ahead and show you guys some different trackers some that you may have already been using and, you know, for different reasons now in live, like the customer tracker, and then some that you probably, you know, haven't been using as much for the reasons that you will be using them for in the future. So with that being said, I will go ahead and share my screen. And the first one that I want to show you guys is going to be in the customer tracker. So like I said, you know, you guys are used to seeing this now with the financial tab to look at invoices and that sort of thing. Really hoping I don't have system problems again today, but we'll see. But as you have been processing quotes and orders and that kind of thing, they'll be in your customer tracker. So if I wanted to look at quotes for this, actually, I'm looking at customer is Fairfield in Indianapolis. So if I wanted to look at quotes, I have different tabs here. I can look at the active ones. I can look at all of them. I can look at expired, ship to, whatever. So if I just click on retrieve, this is going to show me all the quotes that I or whomever has done with this customer. In any of these dashboards, you can always go next to, like, for example, this one, the quote number, and do a right click. I am right clicking. Goodness. Well, you can do right click open with, and you can either go into the quote itself and quote entry, or you can go into the quote tracker. So I can do open with, quote entry. Hey Lou, if you don't mind, will you mute your...
No problem.
Thank you. All right, so this is obviously running super-duper slow.
Hey, Lori.
Uh-huh.
It's Al.
Allison. I just had a quick question. So if there's an item that the customer is reordering, can we go here and just do the quote again? Or how?
Yeah, so you would actually do what I'm doing and go into, find the part number, or you can look at the description or the customer part. And again, remember that these screens are all, I say the word customize, you can customize them, mainly like, dragging and dropping or whatever. But if I was going to do, a reorder on something, I can open up the quote and just duplicate it.
Okay. Do you have to do a quote? Like if you're reordering an item, do you have to do a quote again, or can you just go to orders and duplicate the order?
So systematically, you could go to the sales order, but business-wise, we want everything to start with the quote because that's where we're capturing the, the estimated profitability and stuff of that project. So, there could be additional cost and things that might happen on this reorder. And that could include anything from, overnighting samples or additional freight cost or anything like that. That might come up later that would be tied to the project so that you could look at everything, the other reason why we're using the quotes is, quotes and projects. So as a project, continues on and again, maybe you have things that you're purchasing that you didn't actually quote, but, or you have expedite fees or something like that. It's something to go back and look at next time that you have that piece of business that's a repeat, and make sure that on the next project that you create, that you include some of those, if it is freight or, warehousing or something like that, that you want to include those on the next round of that piece of business. So again, you're starting off with as many details as possible to make sure that, your projected profits and stuff are correct. All right. Well, this is, taking a while. I was going to try to flip to another screen. Hey, Amy, can you mute too?
Sorry, I thought I was.
That's okay. It was because I was talking to you about text messages. So yeah, that's basically, Allison, what you would want to do is just, and I think, we've gone through duplicating the quote, and again, the more you do it, the quicker it'll be, and it should take you, 5 minutes or so maybe to do a duplicating of a quote. So, again, I really wish I could put the Jeopardy music on when this thing is doing this.
I can if you want.
Thanks, Bhavna. So another thing I wanted to show you in Customer Tracker, if I can. I just saw that not responding, and I just didn't want to look at that. Sorry, guys. I wanted to show you on the Customer Tracker also the shipments. So I know some of you have asked, like, if there's something you can tell in the Project Tracker if something's been, shipped, or has it been invoiced, or that kind of thing. In the Customer Tracker, this is just insane. you have the ability to look at shipments that have taken place and whether or not they've been invoiced. Let's see if I can just close this. Okay. And I just got shot out. So, happy Wednesday, everyone. I'm going to try to reopen the screen. All right, let's start over. Welcome, everyone. Disregard last 13 minutes. I'm going to try to go back into Customer Tracker, and I am not opening a quote. While we're waiting on this, does anybody else, are there any other questions, business-wise or anything that you guys have thought of, either while you're doing your homework or you're watching my screen spin and spin or anything like that?
I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
I finally got to my packing slip for shipping,
Uh-huh.
and I had the wrong ship to address on it.
Okay.
I couldn't figure out. It was a released, I think,
Okay.
packing slip, and I couldn't figure out how to change the address.
You would want to change the address on the sales order first.
Well, my sales order. That's the source PO, right?
No, the sales order is what gets generated from your customer's PO. That's the sales side of things.
Sales equals customer.
Yes.
I thought I did all that.
Well, I'll show you another way of getting to some of that too, I hope.
Okay.
All right, so in the customer tracker, like I said, you can look at your orders. Again, open, closed, all. You can look at them by ship to, and just clicking the retrieve button. But you can look at shipments, and you have all pending, shipped, not invoiced. So if I click on this and click retrieve, it's going to show me all the shipments that have taken place for this customer. And notice in the invoiced, they're all open because Matt's on vacation and he does the generating of the invoices. You'll notice in this, the drop ship line, these are ones that I did for you guys because I was trying to clean up some stuff. But you can, if you wanted to open up one of the packs, you can just right click. I'm scared to even right click. But, and open up the pack ID from there. So the drop shipped ones, when you actually go live, should invoice within the next, 24 to 48 hours. Again, they're not going to be, corporate is going to be doing that drop ship process. So, so I can go in, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but I just right clicked on that pack ID and I can go into customer shipment entry here. And whenever this pack opens, it's going to be marked as shipped. So again, that's one of those check boxes that locks the screen or locks that form. You would have to unship it to make any of the changes that you needed to. So this one's shipped. If I unship, notice I don't have the ability to change anything here because it's pulling from my sales order. So I'd want to change it on my sales order.
So Lori, Amy and I had a question about this yesterday afternoon. Can you, if there's two parts on the same order, can you put them both on this pack?
If they're going to the same location, yes.
How do you do that?
You would just, let me open this again.
Because I was trying to do it yesterday to add like a new line, and it wouldn't let me. It was grayed out.
So if you had marked it as shipped,
Yeah.
you would want to look at the status here. Even if I unmark it as shipped, if the status is closed, it's not going to allow you to add anything. So you would want to go to actions and open.
Okay. That's
And you
fine.
Yeah, so you'd want to change that status to open. Once you do that, if I had more lines, I could go here and do a new line.
Okay.
And then if I, made a mistake, all I have to do is highlight this and then click the X. So, but this is one of the things in Customer Tracker, I think, for anyone who, wants to stay on top of their billings or that kind of thing, you can see which ones have been shipped and which ones have not been invoiced yet. And then, do your due diligence to figure out why. Like I said, projects right now, the customization is not working. So the data in here is really old, so it's not gonna help us out any. But I could, I can look at anything that's in the shipped and notice it's kind of the same screen. It's going to show me what hasn't been invoiced and that kind of thing. So that is a few of the tabs that you can use on Customer Tracker when you're looking at things. The other one
Hey, Lori,
is,
can I ask you a question about one of those tabs?
sure.
Under Customer Tracker where it says orders and then the open line column. So if the box is not check marked, what does that mean again?
That just means that it hasn't shipped yet.
Okay, but when I go to shipments, that item is in my shipment line. Like when I go to the shipment tabs, because I checked that because I thought, well, that means it didn't ship. But when I go over shipments, it's showing there.
And you're sure it's the same part, same order, same line?
It says same description. Yeah, that's my weighted best.
Okay.
So I was curious on that. And then my projects are showing up in there.
You're what? I'm sorry.
The projects are on my project tab.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Because mine aren't, but
Okay.
okay.
So mine
Well,
are.
that's good. I couldn't, if I look at mine and on this customer and retrieve, these are all projects that we were doing for testing stuff, because you can tell the project ID is really wonky, and the dates are really old. So, yeah, you guys are more than welcome to see if your projects are Indianapolis. In full disclosure, Indianapolis has been our testing background or our testing environment. So there's a lot of stuff in here that that was done, as you can tell, last year and very, very early into this year. So you might have stuff that is actually working in your projects, like you said, Jen, because it hasn't been used as a testing environment. But, I will look and see if on the orders, when it says that the line is open, if that has anything to do with, well, it shouldn't have anything to do with whether or not it's been invoiced or not, because like this line that I'm looking at, I know hasn't been invoiced, because there hasn't been any invoicing being done. But I will look and see.
It says, under my shipped tab, it's the same item. And it even is marked checkbox shipped. And then when I go under orders, that same line is not checkmarked in the open column.
It's not checkmarked?
No.
Okay, that's correct.
Okay. So
Yeah, so
it's open line and it's not checkmarked.
that means that's
shipped.
correct. That means that line is not open.
Okay. That was okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So like, for example, this one is showing up in here, like my order ending in 6-2, because I do still have a line that is open on here. I haven't shipped the second line, so that order's still open. It doesn't do it by the line in the release, it's the whole order itself. All right, so that is your customer tracker and some things that might come in handy. Another one that I wanted to show you is you can look at your purchase order tracker. And much like, when you're in PO, purchase order entry, I can search here. I can search by my name. And I can also search by the status. So if it's an open PO or a closed PO, click search. And here's all of my open POs. So if I wanted to look at all of these, I can select all and then just kind of arrow through these to see what's going on with them. And I can get my project ID by clicking on the Releases tab and looking down here at my project. And again, that's a field where you can right-click and open with Project Tracker or Project Entry. So that's, again, one that you can, if you're wanting to see what POs you had open, as the buyer, you can look at it this way. Another one that you can look at would be a supplier tracker. So if you know you have some purchase orders with a specific supplier, you can come in here and I can click on the supplier and say, start beginning with, and then the group ID, I'm going to do accounts payable and click search. And here's two POs with the supplier starting with age. I can click on the one I'm looking for and click OK. And this will also come in handy when, if a supplier calls and wants to know if an invoice has been received or something, you can click on links and you can click on purchase orders, open, closed, or all. You can click on payments. You can click on invoices. But if I wanted to look at my purchase orders that I have open with the supplier, I don't have any. But if I was, it would pull up those purchase orders that are open with that supplier. But like I said, you can look at the payments, and you can look at what invoices are in the system by, if you did all, it would show you everything that, well, I have clearance for everything, but so it's going to show me all the invoices that were in the system when we actually copied live into B to have some data. So if I wanted to look at payments, so I can look and see, here's the check number, the amount, the date it cleared the bank, that kind of thing. So that is your supplier tracker. You can also search on your purchase points when you use that. So, but what I wanted to do today was to have you guys use a couple of these different dashboards to see if you have any open purchase orders that still need to be received in. So if you've been keeping track of your projects, you can also, look at your project tracker and look at your POs that have been linked to your project. And if they have a checkbox in them, then yes, you've received them in. If they don't have a checkbox, then you can do the receipt entry on that. And again, you can either search by using the magnifying glass, or you can look in sales management, order management, general operations, and you have your project tracker here. So if I was to look at, I don't know whose project this is, it's just a number. So I can look here and I can see that I've received both of my POs. I know that because I went through everybody's sales orders last night. And I believe most all of you have some purchase orders on projects that have not been received yet. So like I said, either use the purchase order tracker or your project tracker or your supplier tracker to find any open POs that haven't been received yet. And then we're going to go through the receipt process. Some of you that had POs out there that weren't linked to projects, I went ahead and did that too last night. So, but I didn't do any receiving or anything. I just linked them to projects. So if everyone will, like I said, use one of those methods to find some purchase orders that you haven't received yet, and let me know when you found one. If you don't have any, then you might just have to watch, but I think most everybody has at least one. Amy, you might not, because some of the stuff I had to delete when it created things in a different site and that crazy stuff we talked about. So sorry for your luck. You can also find your project if you go through the order tracker.
Hey, Lori.
Uh-huh.
I went through purchase searched my name as the buyer, and I see 5 of them there, but none of them are showing as open. Does that mean that they all been received?
Let me see if you. Okay, that might mean that you have received everything. So what, if you guys have received everything, then go and look at the order. Like if you're going through Project Tracker or whatever, look at the order and then see if you have a line that's open on the project. You'll know that by, if I look at my related on this in my orders, well, these have both been shipped, but one of the lines will be, it won't be grayed out, I believe.
So you said if both your orders are grayed out, then they've.
If both, yeah, so if both lines are on there, you can also look at the releases and it'll show you what has been shipped. But if they're both grayed out, then that means that order's been shipped. Complete. Another thing on the purchase orders is if you had more than one line, then you could have one line that has been received in and another line that has not. But Jessa, you might just not have any open POs.
I went into Project Tracker, like the only project I really have written down the last one I did. There's no way to search all of the projects I've done in the past.
Right, so that's where I was saying to use your customer tracker with the different customers that you've used, and you can look, like I said, Jen said that it was working for her for Project Tracker. You can go under that customer and click on the projects and see all your projects related to that customer.